Hey everyone, this is a special episode, and today's topic is movie franchises. We will discuss why studios create, continue, or cancel them. This is a real conversation and episode 44 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Hey everyone, this is Oscar.
And it's Donnie.
And we have our producer, Ruben.
Hi.
And we have our continuing special guest, Daniel.
Woo!
Yay!
Daniel's here! He didn't go anywhere.
He decided to stick around to talk about movie franchises, and we're going to do a little special episode here. Just given the summer season, we noticed a lot of movies are part of a franchise.
Yes.
So I brought up some discussions that we've had off the mic that we wanted to kind of bring into the mic.
Exactly.
So hopefully we provide some insight and start a conversation. That's the goal of this podcast, of this episode. So let's get to it. All right, guys. I feel like that was a script. So movie franchises is a big thing in the industry, in the movie business.
Yes.
It's
How they make money.
It's how they make money. It's what a lot of people look forward to. And it's almost like a guaranteed amount to some extent.
Right.
If they know the amount, if they know the movie is doing well. Like I think the best example right now is Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like they know they're gonna make a specific amount.
Right.
They have expectations to go beyond that, but that varies for the movie. But with that being said, it's interesting to know that a lot of franchises, despite being good or being bad, it keeps reoccurring even though it's not really being asked for, so to speak. Like most of the times, if the box office numbers do well, the movie gets a sequel and that starts the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Something like Despicable Me, where it wasn't intended to be multiple movies, but it did so well the first one. Studios was like, we want a second one.
Right.
Another example, probably not that I'm sticking to DreamWorks, but Shrek is another example.
Oh man, they milked that so hard.
They did. And some of them are intentional. And I think like Marvel movies, superhero movies, those are intentional where they do want to make multiple because there's so many characters that they can pull from, that they can use.
It's such a large story that takes time.
Right, exactly. Some of them are born just due to their popularity. Some of them are adaptations of some kind of classical point property, I guess would be IP, would be the right terminology. Transformers being Hasbro toys is one example. So all that being said, I'm gonna ask the first questions here. What do you guys look forward to when it is a franchise versus just a standalone film, an independent film? What do you guys look forward to in a franchise? Why do you guys go to see franchise movies instead of like saying, you know what, I know what I'm going to get out of that, I'm pass?
Reoccurring characters.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say the characters have to be well developed and have to be interesting enough for me to go see them again.
Relatable. Yeah,
I have to really be invested in like their lives or what they're going through.
Like I want to, like I have to be so, I guess not just relatable, but I have to be so interested that like I want to keep coming back just for them, not so much the story they're involved in. Styles Stilinski.
He's going TV. He's going TV. This is movies.
This is movies, Daniel.
No, that's understandable. I feel like, to me, the franchise works when there is a story that they want to tell. I completely am for stories that need multiple movies to tell. The best example, like Harry Potter.
Uh-huh.
That one, you need 1 through 7 to really get the understanding of Harry Potter's journey from the boy who lived to defeating his rival, Voldemort. So that's something that's understandable. But things like Transformers.
Yeah,
I want to argue that it's not just a story that you need a good storyteller. Because alongside the Harry Potter was the Percy Jackson series, and that flopped so hard as a movie.
They only got 2 movies.
They got 2 movies, and that was it. And that was a series that should have involved 5 books or at least 5 movies.
Well, I mean, are you talking about like the producers in that sense, or that kind of storytellers?
Right. You know, like it involves a good
The creative
storyteller.
force behind the film,
A
behind the
hugely
franchise.
creative force. Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can't just sort of throw a story onto the screen and think that it'll just catch. You know,
But that's the thing, that there's some that do. There's some that people go see and it becomes a success at the box office that the studio feels like they should make another one because it was so well received. Maybe not necessarily critically, but commercially it was. People go see that. That usually happens more so with kid-friendly movies, family-fun movies, than more like adult content.
I mean, yeah, it definitely happened like with all the young adult, with the like Divergent series, the Hunger Games series, you know, the
Yeah.
right.
what's the other one?
Twilight. Like that's the
Twilight
thing.
films.
That's the thing is like it would.
But
so
it
well
makes
to
sense
continue.
it makes sense. See, now we're talking about like book adaptations because
But that becomes a franchise
Yeah.
almost to some extent.
right, but like as opposed to like a Transformers, where in my personal opinion, and I don't mean to like, you know,
Don't make us lose listeners.
Hit him.
I mean, like after the first one was great. I was totally into it. The second one, I was like, and then I was done. I was done with the Transformers. I had no desire whatsoever to go forward and to see more films.
But yet the toys still sell. So to the studio, it's like this toys are selling. It's making good numbers.
Yeah. And the damn movies keep coming. And I keep thinking, like, oh, this is it. Thank goodness it's over. And they just keep coming.
like the Fast and the Furious movies. When you said keep coming, I mean, that's a franchise that just will not die.
Yes, exactly. Because it's well, that one is also now getting critically well received. Not just commercially. Usually, if it's one or the other, it's commercial that wins over critically. But things like, I think an example that doesn't do well commercially was Hellboy. It only got 2 movies, and as much as the director wanted to do the third one, it never got greenlit. Then now it's being rebooted. That's coming out soon. Yeah, there's a new one coming out.
Hellboy is a wonderful movie.
So
I haven't seen that one.
So critically doesn't always necessarily mean a sequel. Commercial does, and that's why the Transformers get made. James Bond always gets made because it does a certain amount of numbers. It doesn't necessarily break records. But
James Bond gets rebooted like almost regularly. Like,
but they're not. It's reboot to some extent that you can kind of watch it with the new actor, but it's still respecting its past.
Right, because James, I thought I was under the impression that James Bond was a code name. Like these were different characters. Like
they're not the same singular James Bond character.
Is
that confirmed?
I don't know. I was under the impression that it was like an agent name. James
that makes
Bond
sense.
was the agent name, and these were
like there are several James Bonds out there.
But if that was the argument, why still make so many James Bond movies? Like that's
like you could just keep going and going and going. Like what's the purpose?
There's always a hero. There's always
I totally. I mean that's going into like recasting and like that. That's a different argument that I feel can be made in the sense of if an actor can play a character that's been done before. Like all the James Bonds that have gotten replaced. I don't know if I always thought it was one single character, and that they were just
reiterations.
Yeah, the actors are just continuing on. I always thought that. That's why they celebrate 25 years of James Bond movies. But that would be interesting because I feel like at this point they would have done some kind of like crossover with like
two James, like the old James Bond fighting the new James Bond.
Or something. I feel like it would have done that.
That would have been fantastic. These are great ideas. I hope someone's listening.
This is actually a studio pitch.
I know, right?
Then there's there's that commercial. If the commercial does well, it continues on. As we said, Fast and the Furious, the James Bond movies, those things. Critically doesn't necessarily mean it, but money-wise, it's understandable. But I feel like to some extent, the businesses should kind of know when it should end. And, I feel like with Transformers, they should have known. Like I get the money talks, but I feel like a business should be like, we did 3 Transformers. We don't want to milk it too much because
it's like
it's going to start to go downhill at some point.
It loses its like, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out if you guys think of it.
Appeal.
No, it loses
traction.
Monetization.
What?
Monetization.
Monetize?
No, that is not the word I was thinking
sorry.
of. I was just gonna say, like, after so many films, the whole story, the whole film itself gets
When
diluted.
it lacks direction, yeah.
It gets diluted. So then it's
The
like
X-Men
there's nothing.
franchise would be another.
You better stop cutting me off. No, I'm just kidding. No, I know, yeah, but like it just it loses like.
The franchise changes?
It's just like, what are we
just
doing
gets-
this for?
yeah,
like
it-
other than for you guys to make your money, why should we still like?
Because it's not like the studios are heavily investing in saying, let's get the best writer and the best director to make the next Transformers movie.
They're like, let's put another one out.
They'll just
Let's
like
get it out there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's more like who's available, who do we feel can deliver the script well enough for a movie to be made, quote unquote, to give it a plot.
Which sucks because then it's like you're basically giving me a C-list kind of film
Yeah.
With A-list actors.
with like an A-list title to it, but the quality is not there. The caliber of talent like behind the
Anthony
lens, in
Hopkins.
front of the lens, it's not there. So it's like that kind of sucks as a moviegoer, for me to like invest all this time, like to keep coming back and seeing these films and invest my money, and you're not giving it your all. It sucks that studios
And
kind
then
of overlook that.
Just imagine the scenario. It's not that it's happening, but just imagine Marvel said, oh, after Avengers 4, we're doing Iron Man again, but we're doing Iron Man's origin with an actor played by whatever. At that point, then you're like, well, now I feel like I wasted my time or I'm done. Why would I want to see a whole
Robert
nother?
Downey Jr. meant nothing.
Yeah,
It's
like-
Yeah, like that.
And
yeah.
it could be like a kind of reboot of Iron Man, died and he passed it on to the next actress, which would be comic accurate. So it's not like it's not, wouldn't happen in the comics. Yeah, he's passed it on. The mantle has been passed on. All the Avengers have at some point
Right.
passed on the mantle. So, but it's like the franchise. I mean, obviously they know people like Marvel, so they would go see it. But then I feel like it hurts. Like it's just like
It's like, why can't we just leave
let
well
it
enough
die.
alone? Like, why can't we just leave something and leave it in its great glory
and then the
and always remember it that way? Like, why do we have to keep, rebooting it and putting a new fresh face on it, a new young face on it?
or continuing it or just continuing like beyond, like to me the Transformers movie should have at least ended with Shia LaBeouf. Not to say
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
he was
Yes.
carrying it. He wasn't carrying the movie, but it was like a
But
way.
he was one of the reasons why
I kept
went.
returning.
Yeah,
Yeah. And, the reoccurring characters establishes a congruity. I mean, it's arguable that Optimus Prime's a reoccurring character, but we know that Optimus Prime's CGI. Shia LaBeouf, on the other hand, is a real man.
oh man,
That's a whole man.
in every way, shape, and form. No, but yeah.
Yeah, and and it's just distracting, and I say that it's not just the fact that they kept trying to milk the Transformers movies, because there's also a tone with objectifying, sexualizing female characters in that franchise as well. Megan Fox, and she was followed by
it was another model though.
a model, very pretty model.
It continues. I mean, like that's what it feels like. It's not a thought out production. It's just like.
It's like a cookie cutter template that they're
Yeah.
filling every time.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like they hit the beats of what you expect in a blockbuster, quote unquote. And the blockbuster types of movies have changed. Like previously, it was more of like a movie that did involve a lot of intensive special effects or CGI. But now that's become so norm.
Oh, because CGI is easily accessible
Now it's easily accessible. So now it's become more of like, when can we find the right franchise or make the new franchise? But then there's the question about.
But then too, it's like back then too, like a blockbuster film was like reserved for like the summertime, whereas now we're getting blockbuster films kind of year round.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole
With the
idea of what a blockbuster film is kind of like that's changing too.
It is changing, and they're trying to keep the idea that the best of the best are for summer. So if you kind of like think they tried to get that calendar still within that window, But no, it's starting to experiment. Now Christmas holiday time is like just becoming just as big as the summertime. Black Panther show, February could be a great month for movies. Now that's going to get a lot of release dates probably. So yeah, I mean that's the part that I guess is so confusing, because we've gone to the point where we wish we can say we can put an end to it. And let's just say for example, yes, we said, oh, after this film it ends and then it gets rebooted. You can choose to whether we want to watch it or not. I'd be like, that's not my, set of
Hashtag not my Iron Man.
Start getting those tweets.
Yeah.
Like you get that kind of feeling, but then there's things where it's being remade. The best example, Jurassic Park now becoming Jurassic World. Like that franchise ended after Jurassic Park 3.
Well, it's arguable. It's still congruent. They
Well, no, that yes, they did, but they brought it back to make it relevant again. Now Jurassic World is a new franchise. So
what's next? Jurassic Universe.
After the third one, it probably
just Jurassic.
Would be the Jurassic period.
Jurassic World era. I can see those kinds
Jurassic Galaxy.
Well, that's like the studios be
Jurassic
like, that was a good one.
Solar System.
He said era. Let's use that one. Solar System. We're gonna take that one. But no, that's the thing. Where it's like, well, then when it feels like a conclusion down the road,
and then they're like, psych. It's really not.
It's just it's hard to really trust it and trust where it's going. And
it's hard to trust like the intent, because it's like,
because there's a lot of times,
like either you're just wanting. I mean, every studio wants to make money. Like at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money. Obviously, that's why these things are, the money is in franchises and those kind of blockbuster films, and that's why they get rebooted and remade. But
yeah, that's for sure the business answer.
Yeah,
I guess we're more.
But I feel like
should it though? Like should audiences be rewarded with a conclusion to a story? I get like, 100 years later and then doing the Transformers franchise again or doing Harry Potter again.
Yeah, like way down the line.
But
to just like, we finished it like 2-3 years ago, and then they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna reboot it now. It's like
the Spider-Man
I
franchise.
Still have that taste in my mouth.
The Spider-Man, yeah. Like I think
Spider-Man's a perfect example, which I was really against, because I was really. Are we talking about from Tobey Maguire to Andrew Garfield, or
all three? Like
all three. Yeah.
So I was content with the Tobey Maguire films. I liked all three, watched all three.
I loved Andrew Garfield.
And then they were like, okay, we're gonna reboot it. Andrew Garfield's coming along. And I was like, that's okay. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I loved it. Like, I was super into the two films. Thought he was fantastic. Loved it. And then they were like, oh, okay, well, now we're going to do Spider-Man Homecoming.
Tom Holland.
And I was so anti. I was not into it. That's why it took me so long to watch it. Because I was like, we just wrapped up with Andrew Garfield, and now you're going to, walk all over that part, with Tom Holland. I don't know. It felt really like that's one reboot that I can recall where I felt really some kind of way about it. Like I was really, really against it.
What was the time frame between Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland?
2012 to 2016, 4 years.
Was it really 4 years?
I guess 4 years isn't long enough for me.
And I think it's also arguable. I don't mind to play the devil's advocate. I think it's arguable that as we get older as a generation, there's more time that we see, and there's more change that we see, and it's easy for us to become saltier. Whereas, there are kids who are in elementary school, and Tom Holland is the Spider-Man
for them.
Actually, it was 2017. It was last year that Spider-Man Homecoming came out.
3 years.
So,
yeah. And there are gaps. I think if you were going for a tasteful marketing procedure, not so much as money making. You could just release a new Spider-Man movie every time the generation resets.
But see, there is for Spider-Man in particular, there is a reason why it kept getting rebooted, and that's because Sony has the rights to it. That if they go past a specific amount of years that they don't make a movie or are in production of making a movie of Spider-Man, they lose the rights and it goes back to Marvel. Mm-hmm. So to them, that's a breadwinner. Spider-Man has been making money, so they can't they can't let it end. They can't give it time to simmer for the fans to,
Relax.
Get ready for a new journey, because they would lose it, and you won't get Spider-Man by Sony anymore. You'll get Spider-Man by Marvel, which at this point is a good thing, and to some extent.
Yeah.
Which is what we're getting now, because Sony decided to team up with Marvel. So that's a situation where
we ain't gonna give you Spider-Man, but we'll work with you. In
that's a situation where that's the reasoning why they kept making it. In addition to, it makes money.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't making money, they'd be like, Fantastic Four is a great example where they tried it again and it bombed, and it's heading towards they're not making another one, but they may finally make it, just to not lose it. Or this is Fox, but Fox may finally make it so they don't lose it, and it goes back to Marvel. So there's that.
It sucks too. I mean, I don't know what the right or wrong answer is. I don't know how you could fix that. But it's like, to hear that, oh, we don't want to lose it, so we're just gonna throw out a film just so we can keep the rights to it. Like, that sucks.
Yeah,
it does suck. Yeah.
And then there's,
it's not fair to the audience.
And then there's Harry Potter, that it concluded its story.
Woo!
But now they're making Fantastic Beast,
which I'm not into.
Which the author is a part of, so it's not like they didn't get the author's consent. She's making this story. So it's like, she's not writing a book, but she's making a movie of it. So there's that perspective too of they're still bringing the Harry Potter world. And this is they're seeing Universal Studios, getting so many money because of, everyone wanting to go to the attractions, wanting to go to the lands of Harry Potter, where that's generating interest. So a lot of those things give them reasons to do it. It's just that if it keeps making money, it keeps going. We have a question? Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you think it was better for them to create a new series, the Fantastic Beasts in the Harry Potter universe, or should they have rebooted Harry Potter?
That's
new
a
character,
good question.
new kids.
I feel like
continued with Harry's kids. What do you think?
Wait. So you're asking, should they have?
Yeah, what would have been the tasteful thing to do? Do you think Fantastic Beasts was the optimal route to take?
Without having to taint the current franchise of Harry Potter's journey, yes.
Right.
Because this is everything. If you know the universe, you know what's going to happen. In the same ways that if you watch the prequels to Star Wars, you know what the ultimate end results is.
It's nothing surprising.
Yes, but it's nice to be able to stay with this world. And I get it for those that if you love it, it makes sense. If you are a kid that's 7 years old and you get to see Optimus Prime again, but now he's on a dinosaur.
Hell yeah!
That makes sense. For specific age groups, which to some extent it's a toy. At the end of the day, Hasbro and Universal were trying to generate toy sales in addition to making box office numbers. So there's that aspect as well. But the biggest disappointment is if you start to like a franchise, but the next one gets done badly or box office are done.
Like in your case, the Green Lantern.
And then the whole DC Comics, it's been going downwards. Box office for each movie has been going...
They have not been paying the right people.
That's the thing. It's I personally would want to see the DC rebooted to a brand new start, but the general audience would not.
Yeah.
Can you imagine them saying, "Oh yeah, so everything you just watched,
forget about it.
It's not going to be relevant. We're starting with a new Batman, a new Flash, a new Superman."
And I think it's even arguable that the refresh to a new Batman, because now it's Ben Affleck instead of Christian Bale. That me personally, it was a little distasteful. I really like Christian Bale.
I really, really liked Christian Bale too as Batman.
And it would have been
to say that I don't like Ben Affleck.
No, not to say that either, because Ben Affleck he's Batman now. That's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do. I can't go fight him. But I think that had Christian Bale been the Batman for the Batman versus Superman movie, it would have had that oomph, that hit where it's this was a slow build, and now we're fighting against Marvel Universe.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. That definitely would have been a difference maker.
It's arguable that Iron Man started as a character living in a human world. Everything he did because he was an engineer. He was smart. None of it was outside the scope of reality, other than maybe his arc reactor on his chest. But and then you had The Dark Knight, and that was a slow build that was really good. It was tasteful. You know, those were movies that you look forward to because, god damn it, it was Batman. But you know, when they switched over to Ben Affleck, it was kind of like, ooh, costume's a little different.
But see, there's for that situation, Christian Bale wasn't going to do it if Christopher Nolan was not directing it.
And Christopher Nolan is a realistic movie,
and he wasn't directing it. So those are things where it's like that's the studio's hands being tied. They can't force an actor to be in a movie.
There's just so many like politics and so much like.
Yeah,
it's such a chess game. Like
it really
with the film being made, and there's so many behind the door things that like the general audience, unless you're actively seeking out this information or want to be in the know about the production of a film, there's like the general audience doesn't know those things. Yeah. They just know that Christian Bale is not Batman anymore. It's Ben Affleck, and they're either like woohoo or boo, you know, and they don't know all what's going on. Right. Why Christian Bale decided not to continue playing Batman, you know, those kind of things.
So they should do that in front of every movie before the start of.
It's
so I know you guys have seen the Batman with Christian Bale, but he decided not to do this, so that's
like
why
a little blurb, a little spiel before each movie.
With what's her name from Nookie, the little pre-Cinemark.
Oh, Marissa Menounos, or what's her name? Maria Menounos or something like that?
Maria Menounos.
Oh!
That's with her newbie.
Man.
Yeah, that'd be her little spiel.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're going to watch.
She's a franchise of her own. She's just everywhere.
Sticking around.
Yeah.
Who is she?
So that's the tough part about a franchise. But right now, the latest example is Solo. It did not do its box office numbers, as we mentioned in our coverage. Check that out if you haven't. That's how you tie it in.
Episode 43.
Asterisk episode 43. But yes, that one did not meet its numbers. And now this is one where the studio's like, we either retool something behind the scenes, or we're going to fire someone, or now we're going to panic and we're going to make sure episode 9 meets these other things that we feel like will win the fan back. So now it's like the studios are always going to try to make it work. There are some that surprise them that they don't think is going to be, you know, a franchise, and it does.
Example:
Jurassic Park, the first one being so well, Despicable Me being so well, Toy Story doing so well.
Was Jurassic Park a standalone movie?
The first one?
It was a book.
Yeah, I mean it was adaptation.
Oh my gosh!
But the first one did so well that they created 2 more that did
Maria Munoz is at home. She's like, "Who is he?" She's firing back at me.
Still trying to be like, I can't find him. I think that says enough.
Yeah.
Dang. But you can catch me on.
She also has a podcast, actually.
She got a lot.
I remember we both found out, like, she said her podcast. Check me out my
podcast. She did. Check out my podcast. It was like, oh, really? You want to go there?
We just want to collaborate with her. That's all.
That'd be great.
That's all.
Maria, if you're listening, we're huge fans.
We're sorry.
Clearly, we pay attention that you're before our movie's playing. But that's the good and the bad. The good is that you get a franchise of characters that you probably enjoy, you love to dress up as, you go to Comic-Con, you know, you have so many different kind of ways to express that. But then there's times where, you know, movies don't do well. Like a lot of times they expected it to do well and then it flops. Mm-hmm. So that's also like the disappointing is like maybe you should hold back of watching a movie until you know they're making a sequel.
Yeah.
But then if you don't go see it, then you're
just jumping on the bandwagon. Like once the sequel comes out, and you're like, oh, I love this movie.
But can you imagine?
That's generally how I watch TV shows, actually.
But like, I think the great example of what they wanted to be a franchise is A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh man.
We don't speak of that.
But we see how that turned out. But do you see what I'm saying? Like it goes the opposite way.
Yeah.
But what if you really did enjoy that movie? I mean, I know that's probably like a small number.
What if you were a kid and you really
like that really just like
I Am Number 4 was another one that was
I remember that.
That was going to be a series, but it didn't do well, so they canceled it.
And also, I think the books were still being written. I remember watching the movie and looking for a book, and only book 2 was out. I was like, whoa.
Power Rangers, you know. Although that one just got bought out by Hasbro, which is why they're canceling the sequel. But not that's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's different factors though. See, it's not like it's just. I mean, the box office lack of box office prevented them from rushing into making a sequel. But now we're never going to see the Tommy in that universe. What if What if you wanted to? What if you enjoyed that? That's I think the biggest pain to be able to like.
So it's like when you enjoy something that's supposed to be a franchise, it's supposed to get numerous films, and it fails, and
or
you have no options but to just.
Or if the studio has an intention to be like, oh, we're gonna make the 3 movies of this franchise. We'll start out with the first one. John Carter is another example. The idea is that there is intention to make more, so the movie isn't necessarily complete. It sets it up where you want to come back, or you can come back to this world, and then you never get back to it.
I find those to be the more tasteful movies to watch. The ones where you want to go back, but we never do. Just because it's like...
Although in 20 years, you'll get a chance again.
Exactly. Just got to live long enough for the reboot.
Yeah.
Like the latest example, Sherlock Holmes 3 finally got announced with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude
blast.
Law.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, blast.
But the second one came like back in 2000. The first one came out in 2000 what? I think the second one came out in 2011, 2012. About that time. Yeah. So
and that was a movie that ended where I personally I was like, wow, like that's it. I don't expect to see any more of those.
But no, you're getting a third one.
Here we go. I'm still in it.
Because Robert Downey Jr. brings box office money. So yeah, the first one was in 2009, and the second one was in I'm assuming it was 2011, 2012. Look at us doing so well in our. Watch someone be like, that was actually incorrect.
How dare you?
So these are interesting conversations to have. We just wanted to generate it for all the listeners. We want to just kind of introduce you guys.
Did you say 2011?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
That was like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have the answer.
I know.
I have all the answers.
We hope you guys didn't think there was going to be a definitive answer by the end of this. We just wanted to get a conversation going, something that came to our minds that relates to what we do as covering movies. And this summer is going to have so many different franchise movies.
Yeah.
We had Avengers. We had Deadpool. We had Solo. We're going to have Jurassic World. We're going to have Incredibles 2. What else is going to come out? Not that I put you guys on the spot, but Christopher Robin, I guess, the Winnie the Pooh franchise.
Oh yeah,
Hotel Transylvania 3.
Transylvania 3.
Is Tag going to be a franchise if that does well in the box office?
I could see that. I could see them making a sequel to that. If it did really well.
If it does well, yeah.
I pray it does. I'm really looking forward to that.
Ocean's 8 coming out.
Yeah, that's a part of a franchise.
With George Clooney?
Yeah, but this one is... I don't think this one is going to involve George Clooney.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to make it in. I feel like it's...
They're going to shoe it in?
Yeah, I feel like they'll make it into a franchise. If it does good.
They'll tie it in some way.
Like, make a new set of movies.
Right. Spin-offs would be... Yeah, spin-offs is a whole part of franchises. Kind of.
Do you like spin-offs?
Not always. Right now...
What's a spin-off?
What's a movie spin-off?
Solo and Rogue One.
Oh.
Spin-off is where you're still getting
it's like the same universe, but just different characters.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Rogue One.
I'm trying to think of what else. The Minions getting their own movie instead of just
and that's arguably
love that one.
Puss in Boots getting his own movie TV series.
Yeah.
Look at you.
So yeah,
rapid firing.
So they're it's a thing. If you want to say like Suicide Squad, it's not with Batman and Superman, but it's in that same universe.
No, that's a spinoff.
Yeah.
It had Batman in it. But
okay.
I mean, the definitive answer, I guess we can't say is money. Obviously, that's why.
That's the number one, motivating force behind why these things are
good reason for studios to continue that. I guess that's always going to be the bigger.
I get it. We get it. They want money, and there's money to be made for sure. Yeah, we want the money too. If we were in their shoes, we'd probably be doing the same thing. But I just hope that if they are
with good intention,
I hope that they I hope moving forward, when franchises decide to, come out with more films, that they really focus on like talent and really like making sure it's the caliber is set pretty high for the like, you want the end product to have a good, like, to be good. I know there are studios that just, like you said, they just got to put out a film so they don't lose the rights, or there's a certain timeline they have to get it out in.
Going on right now.
Or they don't want the hype to die down too much. But I hope that they can really not sacrifice the quality of the film.
Yeah. I think
Force Awakens, of the franchise.
Force Awakens is definitely like that. New characters, new actors,
right?
New spotlight. Arguably, they're all young, so you can milk them for longer. But yeah, I think you're right, because a lot of new people who we haven't seen before came out in Force Awakens, and they were really able. They were given a stage where they could, show what they were capable of.
Yeah. Although the Last Jedi kind of takes it back to some extent.
Yeah. I wanted more angry Rey.
Exactly, but we didn't get that.
We might
get in the ninth one, so
never know.
I guess that's a positive to the franchise continuing, so that you might finally get what you want from the character.
Yes,
I mean they're always going to hit the cliche notes. If they
I think that's why
going.
people keep going back. People keep going back because they're just hoping that what they
that
want.
One moment.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys this: if you guys are studio execs, and you guys feel very confident about a franchise that 3 movies, you guys know the storyline of what it's going to be, and the first one comes out and it bombs, do you guys feel like you guys should stick to that integrity and finish it out, even if it doesn't necessarily always break box office numbers, or do you guys still cancel it, because then you guys don't even get the opportunity to let a franchise grow?
It's hard.
What if the second one outperforms the first one? I mean, I guess that's speculation always, but you guys are studio executives. You guys just found out your first movie of the 3 did not do so well. It did mediocre, did not break any weekend records.
It's hard because then you lose money. If no one's going to back you for the second one, it's hard. You might want to do it. I'm sure a lot of these people want to do it again, and they don't get the backing for it.
Yeah, I mean, you take it as a loss, but you never know. What if you just said, okay, well, let's take the flaws of what people do.
I would say, let's look at what was wrong with it. Why did people not respond to it the way we had hoped for?
Right.
Address it.
Let's really hit those things hard for the second one, and then still voyage ahead and still
So you guys wouldn't give it first one failed, cancel it. We're not doing it. Let's bring back Jurassic World. Let's bring back James Bond instead. Would you guys? That's the biggest question. Would you guys still take the risk as executives that you guys are in this position to say, okay, it didn't do well. Well, let's try to see if the second one can do better. Let's see if we can improve it. Or do you guys just say, you know what? Me personally, if I'm speaking with someone and they come up with an idea and they say, I have this 3-movie arc storyline for this character, for this franchise, I agree to it. I feel like I have to
honor that and follow it through regardless of how it performs or not.
Yeah.
Now maybe I can say the budget is less. Maybe you know what? The budget was too high for the first one. We didn't make enough back. You're going to have
a smaller budget.
Yeah.
Really bring out that story.
Right.
That should be incentive to really bring out that story. We're not just throwing people on screen and having big explosions. Make me cry, buddy. Make me cry.
Touch me, move me.
Touch me, move me. Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh. But yes, that was just my question. Just wanted to see.
What would you do? Oh, you kind of just said you would.
Yeah. I would continue it.
Yeah.
Because you never know. You never know. Maybe it just took a while for people to get...
Maybe that had to be the one to just introduce people to that character.
Right.
And now they feel like they're a little more invested in it. So now they're really going to be like, oh, yeah, okay. Definitely going to come back.
And now that the characters have been established, the second one can really dive into the story. That makes it a great story.
You don't have to take the time. Like with any first film, you have to really establish the characters, build them up, get people to understand who they are.
If Batman Begins did mediocre and they canceled it and they never gave us The Dark Knight.
What a tragedy that would be for.
So that would be
it was that kind of example. It's like Batman Begins was an origin story. It was it was received okay. It was I think it was in the 70s, Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
But there was flaws of it.
Right.
And then they gave us
The
Dark Knight.
But they stuck with it, and we got one of the most
a masterpiece.
Perfect cinematic pieces of art.
And I think it's easy like to have perspective once you get the second and the third movie out, because you know, what if the second is worse? The first movie starts to look really damn good. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand surprises if you're just like, oh, this was a great one idea movie that this person came up with and sold me on it, and I funded it, and then it does well. Then it's like, oh wait, let's look at maybe another one. But when it's like one that's like planned out, like Star Wars and Marvel and DC, Jurassic World, where they know it's like, oh, we're gonna make 3 movies, or Fantastic Beast. Right now they're saying they're gonna make 5 movies.
Dang.
So like those like kinds of things where it's like they know they have a plan in mind. I think they should just finish it through, except if it didn't, create the results they wanted. But we'll ask everyone that question too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was this topic, movie franchises. We hope everyone enjoyed.
That was
the
fun.
Conversation.
Just have an open. I mean, all of our podcasts we just have an open conversation, but to just specify one like topic was cool.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let us know if you guys want more topics. We would be glad to cover them in addition to movie reviews and real rewinds and Road to Oscars and what else have we done?
I think that's it so far. But
and our favorite movies of 2018 and our look back at 2017. Yes, we hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you again, Daniel, for...
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
You were awesome. You're a natural.
Thank you.
Oh, back to this. But yes, thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening, guys. Catch you next time.